It is difficult to not get caught up in the noise. So obviously we're in a bear market right now. I'm not worried. My biggest advice is just don't quit. Don't capitulate and sell. It's not a nice feeling being in a bear market when everyone's panic selling, everyone's panicking, the confidence is maybe low, the sentiment's low. But I think if you can stomach that and don't not quit, then the biggest piece of advice, just hodl, buy, forget to buy, forget and hodl.
Hello, this is the Bitcoin Libertarian. Our guest today is Sophie Satoshi, a proud British Bitcoin mom from the north of England who's quietly stacking sats while the world underestimates her. Sophie is a mom of 2 kids, holds a master in law from Northumbria University, and works in the nuclear engineering industry. In 2021, she decided enough was enough with the traditional hamster wheel. She dove deeper into Bitcoin, ramped up her investing, and set her sights on early retirement so she can spend more time traveling and living life with her family. She's on a very public and relatable whole coiner journey, documenting the heights, the low, the DCA discipline, and the real-life challenges of stacking in a world that still doesn't fully get it. Sophie is also a strong advocate for self-custody, Bitcoin treasury companies, and projects like SmarterWeb Company. She brings that grounded, no-nonsense perspective of someone who's not full-time trader or influencer, just a real person protecting the value of her time and energy for her kids. Sophie, welcome.
Hi, thank you so much for having me, and thanks for the introduction. I think you've covered everything.
Excellent. So, yes, thank you very much for being here. And the first question that I want to ask you is, how were you orange pilled?
How was I orange pilled? I first heard about Bitcoin, probably 2016, 2017. Didn't really know what it was. I heard it in a few conversations, ignored it to my own detriment for 3 years. And then in 2020, when we were in the COVID lockdown, you start having more time to kind of, look at other options and dig deeper into things. So I kind of heard about this Bitcoin thing, and I decided to do a little bit more digging, and I went from there. By no means was I an expert overnight. Well, I'm not an expert now at all either. But yeah, I just down that rabbit hole I went. So I wouldn't say anyone orange pilled me. It was a kind of gradual learning, making mistakes, building on that learning, and it was kind of a slow journey, really. I started learning more in 2021, made a decision on a wet, gloomy day that I wanted to go all in. And then 2022 happened, and that's when my conviction was, it was because of 2022. My conviction was solidified. So my conviction came later, but it was because of that year that my conviction was solid. So no one orange pilled me. I guess I orange pilled myself.
And why? I think that the orange pill journey is something that it's on your own. So you just start listening about Bitcoin, you go, you study, you read, you listen to podcasts, and then you get orange pill. And why you get the conviction in 2022?
Yeah, so I didn't have a lot of Bitcoin. I had a fairly modest amount, but I kept buying. I wasn't DCAing yet. I just kept buying as and when I had the funds, or periodically, rather than a kind of set monthly DCA, which is what I do now. So but my position started growing a little bit. We hit the bear market in 2022. Pivotal moment of the bear market in the 4-year cycle, but I didn't even know about the 4-year cycle then. I didn't even know we're in a bear market. For me, I thought it was dead in the water because I didn't understand Bitcoin's fundamentals at that point. I thought it was gone. I kind of wrote it off, but I didn't sell. But at the same time, I got pregnant with my oldest child. She's now 3.5. And because life happened, and because I was so preoccupied, so busy, tired, my brain was full, I forgot about it. I forgot about it for probably 6 months, but didn't really look at the charts or my stack for, I would say, at least 3 to 4 months. I just didn't look at it. I was too tired. I was too preoccupied. This whole life change had happened, and I didn't look at it. But in my head, I thought, well, write that off as a bad job. But a little part of me thought, just maybe it might just pull back. But I didn't have time to think about it. So there, forgot about it. 2023, still very busy with a newborn, with a young baby. Still didn't really look at it, but I saw things start to kind of stabilize and pick up a little bit. Again, didn't really know much about the cycles, but I started to do some more learning. And obviously then it started to recover, and I thought, I didn't need to do anything. I literally just needed it just sat there. It just, recovered beautifully over the next couple of years after 2022. And I thought, wow, God, my daughter made me a better investor by default. It was the best thing to happen to me for many reasons. Obviously, the birth of my first child and all the amazing things that brings, but it made me a better investor and solidified my conviction, and then made me go deeper down into the rabbit hole. And here we are. That's how my conviction was solidified.
And for example, many people that discover Bitcoin in the last probably bull run or the last year when Bitcoin hit all-time high, now they are frustrated because they say, okay, I'm not gonna be a whole coiner even though I saved. How do you suggest, or what do you say to the people who entered last year to Bitcoin? Now they see probably their investment under the water, and they are like asking themselves, should I continue? Should I hold? Should I buy more?
Okay, so
Should
a
I
couple of
sell?
things.
What
That was me. That was me in
suggestions do you have
2022.
for them?
I was 80% down in 2022. I was holding an 80% drawdown. Not just in Bitcoin, but unfortunately I got into altcoins as well. But that's probably a whole other podcast or a whole other subject. But yeah, I was 80% down. So that was me. I'm up overall now, although we are in the midst of another bear market. But I would say also that, if someone's coming into the space now or last year and they are down, and if whole coiner is far out of their kind of reach, or they might think they can never get there, it's more about building up a meaningful position over time. And obviously you can build and accumulate small amounts of Bitcoin, which is Satoshis, which is 1 Bitcoin equals 100 million Satoshis. You can buy fractions and accumulate that over time to stack your position. And the 4-year cycle, for me, I think is still intact. And we will see the upside maybe next year, most likely in 2028. The bull run will be in the thick of the bull run, in the middle of the bull run. But yeah, I would say that was me. I've come out the other side. This is my second bear market, and my conviction is as strong as ever. So yeah, just keep stacking those Satoshis, and just whatever you can build, whatever you feel comfortable with, whatever you can afford, just keep going. Don't panic and don't quit.
Excellent. And you told before that the first, when you started, you were not doing DCA, but then you switched to a DCA discipline.
Okay,
How were you
so for
approaching at the
me,
beginning, and
people
when and
can use
why
Bitcoin
did you
or can
switch
save in Bitcoin,
to a DCA
whatever way they
strategy?
want. Some people enjoy trading. I am not a trader. So I tried to trade at the beginning, you know, thinking buy high, sell low. But, you know, I do not have the knowledge or bandwidth, time or patience to be a trader. So for me, right now, it's more about a savings technology. It's preserving and accumulating wealth over a long period of time. So if you're wanting to get into Bitcoin to be a quick win or trying to get rich quick, then sorry, this space probably isn't for you. Some people have done very well, but again, not overnight. So I don't think it's something to trade. Some people can have fun with trading with it, and some people like to trade it, not me. So for me, it just took the kind of the emotion out of it. 2, I'm a busy mum. I've got a full-time job. I'm holding down many other things as well. I'm building a house, for example, at the moment. That's taken a lot of my time. So for me, kind of setting a monthly set buy every month, either automated or manually, but as long as you kind of stick around to the same time, it takes the emotion and the kind of brain power out of it, really, and you can sometimes ride the volatility a little bit better that way, both emotionally and you know, technically. So that for me, it works. It's a savings technology, long-term savings technology, takes the emotion out of it, and for me, it's not something to trade.
Yes, of course. I think that keeping yourself busy in other things is also a good way to go through the bear market, because as you said, you are a mom, you have a full-time job, you are building a house. I think that all these other issues don't let you think too much on Bitcoin price if it goes down or goes up. And talking about the DCA strategy, of course, not talking about amount, but how is your strategy? You buy
It's
the
worked out
same
fairly well
amount every
because
month,
I only really
you
started
increase the
DCAing
amount
probably 2
when
years
price goes
ago.
down. Can you walk us through the whole strategy?
My conviction wasn't as solid as it is today, so I wasn't as DCAing as much as I am this year or now. I upped my DCA amount earlier this year, my monthly DCA amount earlier this year, for 2 reasons. The price was going down, so I thought, right, great, more sats. I can get more for my money here. And 2, as time goes on, my conviction gets more solid. I'm learning more, I'm understanding more, the foundation's getting stronger. So that for me just wants to pump more money in. So yeah, it's worked out well because I was only DCAing probably half of what I am now up until probably December last year. So yeah, I'm fully allocated now. So I personally, I rely on my monthly wage to DCA. So in my investments and my portfolio, I'm quite well allocated. So I don't really have much for kind of smash buys, although I will, if I see it go down or like a really like a chunky drop, then I will put a little bit more in. So yeah, I do leave a little bit for smash buys, but it's not calculated. It's just when I think I can get more, build my position. With a drop. Yeah, I know. Same day, because if I moved it a day or two, then that's putting the emotion back in it, and that's trying to time the market.
You buy the same day every month?
when you try and time the market, you can just send yourself crazy. And again, I don't have the bandwidth. I don't have the bandwidth of the time to kind of time it. So no, same day every month. And it's weird because I kind of look forward to it. I'm like, oh, yes, DCA day, building my stack. So yeah, same day for me.
Yeah, I always recommend my community to when they start asking about the price or whatever, I just say just buy the same day, and if you are able to, the same hour. So every month, let's say 28 at 4 p.m. you buy, no matter what, no matter the price, because if you let yourself, if you get yourself contaminated with emotions, it would fail, because you're, as you said, if you try to time the market, for sure will fail. And I think that DCA the same day and probably the same hour is the way to go for a Bitcoiner. It's what Sailor is doing. So by the way, Sailor, when he has money, he buys. When he doesn't have money, he doesn't buy. So I think this is the way to become a Bitcoiner, and not be thinking, oh, this month, because a lot of people now, especially in my channel in Spanish, everyone, they are saying, no, I will go when it's 40K. I will go when it's 35K. And probably these people will end up waiting for the 40K and will never go into Bitcoin. So I recommend go 100%.
It's absolutely wild.
Put the money you think is good.
There's a few tweets
every day,
I've put out,
every month, every day, and
past,
every hour, so
where,
you can
I've said
be
1 minute
and
I'm
how it is to be
on
a
my
Bitcoiner
smartphone on Coinbase,
and a mom at the same time.
A minute later, I'm wiping yogurt off my shirt, or I'm cleaning a diaper up, or getting glue out of my hair or something. But I've got my smartphone DCAing on Coinbase. In the other hand, it's absolutely crazy, because when people not maybe well versed in the space or not familiar with the space, you think Bitcoin and you think tech bro or financier or traders, stockbrokers or whatever, people who are very well versed in the space, or at least in the financial and tech world. But yeah, so that's what I really want to share. That I'm an average person. I've not got a financial background. I've not got a IT tech background at all. And if I can do it, and if I can come on this journey and learn as much as I've learned in the last 2 to 3 years, even though I've been in Bitcoin for 6 years, I'd say the vast majority of my learning has been in the last 3, then literally anybody can. Anybody can. And that's the whole reason for sharing my journey. So yeah. Absolutely.
And the Bitcoin ecosystem, I think, is mostly a male ecosystem. I think that we are probably 80% males. Why do you think that women don't enter to the ecosystem? They are because women are the one who manage the family. So in my case, my mom was the one in charge of the family economy, of the investments, everything.
I've still not come to a
do you think that
answer,
not more women are into the space?
I think a couple of the things, I think maybe a couple of the factors are that traditionally, as you say, women are the homemakers. They are the ones to stay in the home and bring up the family, child rearing. And traditionally, men are the ones who go out, work, put money on the table, and provide for the family. That's shifting quite a lot. We're still not there yet, But for my personal circumstances, I am the breadwinner. I am the main earner of our family. So I guess this has also pushed me towards wanting to build a better financial foundation for my family, manage risk and security. So if life throws us a curveball, we're more resilient as a family. So I guess that's probably one of the main reasons. We do child, so me and my partner, we share the child rearing. So he's an amazing dad, and so we share that at home. But I'm the main financial earner, so I think that's one of the main reasons. There are probably many more factors which I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Someone also said to me once that traditionally they found that women don't also have as much of an interest in the financial space. Whether, I mean, again, that might come from the fact that they not that they don't have the drive in an aspirational sense, but because the earning and the need to provide isn't mostly on them. They don't have the they feel they might not have an urgent need to go out and find other sources of income or other sources of financial security, perhaps. But again, there are so many factors maybe that we've not thought about. Because when we do, I've spoken to other people in the space, and just going off my own analytics on X, and I think it's something crazy like between 85% and 90% of interactions are male. But I mean, I've not really seen much of a difference in terms of interactions. You know, I don't ever feel like suppressed or unsupported or made to feel any different because I have a woman in the space. It's been the exact opposite. I've actually found it's really, really supportive, really welcoming. People who just want to kind of learn together. I've not felt that my views or thoughts are unvalidated at all. So for me, it doesn't make a difference. I guess the only difference is that because I am a woman, I want to heighten the awareness for women and women's financial sovereignty and independence. But that's just a bonus. So I share my journey because I want the average person, not necessarily woman, to, you know, drive optionality. But that's a bonus. If I can help women in the space, then that's great too. Start small. So when I say small, I mean take it step by step. So don't try and, don't
which
look at the price,
advice do
for
you
example,
give
and
to
think, oh,
women
well,
that
I don't earn
are
that much. I can't
probably
afford
starting looking at
$65,000
Bitcoins, doubting
Bitcoin.
about Bitcoin? Which advice do you
Just
give
take
them?
your time, maybe even just set up a Coinbase account. Don't even think about even putting any money on there yet, but just have the account, do some more research, talk to people, even come on to X to learn, to get other perspectives. But yeah, start small. Open up the account and just start learning. Just start trying to understand. I'm not here to tell someone to buy Bitcoin. I'm here to make it realistic for the average person to be able to start their journey into Bitcoin. So yeah, start small and just start learning. It is difficult to not get caught up in the noise. So obviously we're in a bear market right now. I'm not worried.
Excellent.
I'm not
And
worried
what's
at all.
been
I
the hardest part,
believe in the
emotionally
long-term
or
thesis.
practically, about
I
staying
believe in the
disciplined
long-term
through volatility
potential.
of Bitcoin?
But I think my biggest advice is just don't quit. Don't capitulate and sell. If you can, obviously, if you're able to hold your position and don't sell. It doesn't feel comfortable right now. Yeah, I'm not going to lie about that. It's not a nice feeling being in a bear market when everyone's panic selling, everyone's panicking, the confidence is maybe low, the sentiment's low. It doesn't feel comfortable, but I think if you can stomach that and not quit, then that's the biggest piece of advice. Just hodl, buy, forget, buy, forget, and hodl. Sorry, doing that in the wrong order there. I think it's a couple of things. So firstly, I think it's the responsibility. So if you hold your own coins, a hardware wallet, and self-custody, then ultimately
Excellent.
you are
And
responsible.
talking about hodl, you said
Majority
not your keys, not
responsible.
your coins. Why is self-custody
You
so
can't blame a
important to
bank
you?
then. You know what I mean? You have the sole responsibility. So it's in your hands. You have the control. And secondly, I think it's removing that counterparty risk. So, there are very well-known, well-established and trusted names out there to hold it on exchanges, for example, or, in an ETF. But it's also removing that counterparty risk as well. So for me, when I do my DCA, I don't necessarily transfer it over to cold storage immediately or on the day. I maybe build up a position of a few percent of a Bitcoin, especially this year when it's a lot easier to accumulate, and then transfer it over in batches. Again, some people might want to do it every time they do it or once a month. But yeah, I think removing that counterparty risk and personal responsibility. Yeah, so I've spoken quite a bit about hamster wheel, or the rat race. For me, it's not necessarily because I hate my job or I want to stop working. I think I would go insane if I stopped working. I'd need to do
And what
something.
role do you see Bitcoin playing in
It's not about
protecting
that.
the
I
value
think
of
it's
people's time
about
and energy, especially for working
relieving some of
parents?
the pressure. I think it's you work harder and harder and harder to just try and keep up with the pace. I think it's about giving yourself that extra layer of financial security, a stronger foundation for families. And I mean, every day in work, we trade our time for money. That's ultimately what we're doing, right? So I think Bitcoin gives me another option. If life were to throw me a curveball in terms of, I don't know, one of the children got sick, or, they needed more support, or, you lost your job tomorrow for some reason or other, the emergence of AI and everything, everyone's kind of worried about that. It just gives me another layer of security and another option to build that foundation for my family's future. And I think that's the way we can preserve our time, is you give yourself another option, and and in 5 to 10 years you might still want to do the job that you're doing today, but you might just want to cut back your hours or work a little less so you can spend more time with your family, or doing something else that you enjoy, or want to build a skill in another area that you've maybe not had time to do before. So it's definitely multifaceted, but I think everyone, or most people's goal is to gain back that time. And I think Bitcoin is a great asset to be able to try and do that. That it's a Ponzi scheme, that it can be switched off. That's the one I hear quite a lot, that, you know, they can just, they can switch it off. Well, who's they? It's not controlled by anybody. It's decentralized.
Excellent.
It's transparent. It's an
Any
open
common
ledger.
misconceptions
It's
about
available
Bitcoin
24/7.
that frustrate you the
Oh,
most?
you can't spend it. So we're seeing more and more, you know, stores, businesses, places you can spend it. I had a conversation with someone a couple of months ago who's really, really well versed in the IT and technical space. He's really, really, really clever guy. And he was like, yeah, but you can't spend it. And I said, well, I'm going to stay at a hotel this weekend in, you know, an hour away from me, and they accept Bitcoin. That's a real company who I know, who is local to me, and you can literally spend Bitcoin there. You know, people think it's kind of magic internet money. I don't think people know about people don't know about the scarce nature of it as well. The fact that it's, you know, in terms of like gold is relatively scarce. I think Bitcoin's more scarce. It's built on maths. It's built on rules that are already known in advance. And this whole protocol has been designed from the beginning, and it is playing out as it should. It's built on maths. And the last time I checked, maths doesn't lie. There's so many things that I would like to mention that I think if I carried on, I'd ramble. But when I start to kind of try and, orange pilling is exhausting, but then when I try and get into it, I get to a point where I almost seem overbearing because I get so excited about it, and just seeing people who are really, really smart and who I thought would be, you know, real believers in Bitcoin are very kind of anti-Bitcoin. And I just think, wow, like they don't know about the 4-year cycles. They don't know about the maths that it built on, or the scarcity. There's only 21 million, you know. Yeah, I could go on, but yeah, it's never been hacked. If it's a scam, then why are nation states buying it? Why are institutions buying it? Why are big name household names like BlackRock buying it? People are literally building their businesses and their livelihoods and their work around it, on it. There's too much adoption now for it to be a scam. So I used to orange pill quite a lot. I've taken a step back now, mostly because it's exhausting. Trying to relay all that information, trying to get someone to understand. But I think it's like anything in life. People are ready when they are ready, not necessarily because someone told them they're ready. So now,
excellent. And how do you approach people to orange pill them?
Or someone mentions it to me, that's when I kind of, in my head, I've got the invitation to kind of expand on the conversation and start trying to educate, I guess. Also, I think if I can see someone who I think would really benefit from it. But yeah, I kind of don't try and bring it up myself anymore. I either try and find an invitation in terms of someone bringing it up. If they know, you know, someone who knows me, who knows I'm a Bitcoiner, they might say, oh, how's Bitcoin doing at the moment? You know, and then I'll chip away a little bit more. But yeah, I think it's mostly about, again, like I said before, not convincing people to buy Bitcoin, but trying to educate and trying to get them to understand how investing works, you know, more about money and about saving. I think it's the education piece and not forcing it on people and being more invited to talk about it. But ultimately, it comes down to the individual, and when they're ready, they're ready when they'll be ready. Wow, we'll probably need another podcast for this. So yeah, it was great to meet you. It was great to meet you at the Treasuries conference. I absolutely loved it. And one of the reasons I loved it was obviously not the content, but meeting people like yourself and meeting people that I've met through
you are
the
also an
community,
advocate for SmarterWeb
like face
Company.
to
In
face,
fact,
and
I
building
met
those
you
relationships
in
and the
the
connections,
Bitcoin
which I
Treasuries and
think in
Conference in Bristol. What drew you to
the
it,
emergence and
and
the
how
rise of
does
AI,
it
that's going to be
fit to the
increasingly
bigger
important. So
Bitcoin
that's
story?
just one thing I'd like to say about the conference in particular, which I particularly enjoyed. So what led me to it? I think I discovered MicroStrategy late 2023. I started investing in 2024, I think. I can't remember now, it's all a blur. Yeah, a couple of years ago, I discovered MicroStrategy. And it was really interesting to me that a company had taken Bitcoin and kind of bridged Bitcoin as the asset with a business strategy, and to have a business build upon Bitcoin to improve their long-term financial strategy. So that was interesting. But kind of seeing that play out. And then earlier last year, seeing that come to the UK and the emergence of that, of strategy in the UK, and seeing UK's version of Michael Saylor was so exciting to me. I was so excited. I was like, wow, we're getting a UK's Michael Saylor. How cool is that? So I mean, wow, people who are not into Bitcoin watching this probably think I'm, a nerd or whatever, a geek. Which if I am, that's fine. But yeah, and seeing that emerge in the UK was, I'm from the UK, so it's important to me, right? So, and seeing, taking an operating business, then becoming listed, using Bitcoin to build upon your operating business, and using traditional financial models. And I kind of see it as taking Bitcoin, as I said before, as the underlying asset, and being the bridge between traditional business, but not only traditional business, but using it to gain access to the public markets, and being a listed company, working their way up through the FTSE ladder and the market cap ranks. It's so interesting to me, and I think it's, treasury companies and companies that have Bitcoin on the balance sheet and using that to create more value through the management team is something that I think is going to be increasingly important. And in a few years, I don't think the UK sees what's coming with the smarter web. So in terms of institutions buying into those companies, do you mean? Yeah, so again, I think having access to the capital markets, and we're starting to see passive inflows. Well, we'll start to see passive inflows, hopefully.
Excellent.
For example, SmarterWeb
And what do you
working its
think
way up
about
through
institutional
and
adoption in
graduating their way
general,
through the
not
FTSE
only
indices.
SmarterWeb or
And
strategy?
as your market cap grows, you are automatically included in larger and larger indices. For me, I think this creates several layers, and we're going to start to see several
general
layers of demand.
institutions
So it
adopting
might
Bitcoin.
and a potentially new class of investor. And those investors will be institutions. So right now we have quite a well-established investor, individual investor layer. Then we will see the institutional layer, which is we're entering into that phase now with, you know, the Bitcoin ETFs through the likes of BlackRock and many others coming on board as well. So we've got the institutional layer, and then we'll see the passive inflows, and then we'll see nation state adoption, you know, sovereign wealth funds, and governments adopting Bitcoin and stable coins. So yeah, I think being the bridge between those two things is really exciting to see it play out in real time, and that we're really early. I think it's bullish in terms of the long-term price. I think if you look at simple supply and demand and the Bitcoin maths, obviously more buying and more Bitcoin accumulation ultimately will drive the price up long term. Of course, it's just how, you know, how simple economics and demand works.
And talking about government and sovereign wealth funds
government adoption,
into
I
Bitcoin,
think
this
there'll
is
be
bullish,
a lot of more
or this is something
regulation,
that we have to
which
watch
isn't
carefully?
necessarily a bad thing. You know, having a government is not a bad thing. I'm not anti-government. I'm not anti-banks. And having frameworks that, you know, protects everybody is a great thing. But I think the danger is that governments, or most governments anyway, don't fully understand Bitcoin and Bitcoin's fundamentals. I think there's so much more education. I think if they have, for example, the UK holds, I think, 62,000 Bitcoin, thereabouts. Could be totally wrong on that. Disclaimer. And they don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they hold. They're considering selling majority of it, and I just think, wow, the education in the policymakers and the regulators we're so far off it. They don't know the value of what they hold. So I think that's the danger. I think it's they're trying to regulate something that they aren't fully educated on. And with that, then they might overregulate or underregulate or completely mismanage what they've got. So I'm not in one camp or the other, right? I don't hold ETFs, but I think they're a good option. Again, it all comes down to optionality. So I am an advocate of self-custody and Bitcoin treasury companies. I think that's powerful that you have that control. However, ETFs are good for some people who, again, don't fully understand Bitcoin yet, or prefer to have the asset managed by
and Bitcoin
a household
ETF
name like
versus
BlackRock,
self-custody.
an
Where do you
institution that they
stand?
have trusted
And what
and that
advice
is,
you give to regular
you know,
people?
very well established in not just the Bitcoin space, but the whole complete global financial system. And also for institutional adoption, I think ETFs are quite attractive and important because so companies might have policy restrictions, governance restrictions, you know, internally that might make it so they're not able to invest or buy Bitcoin directly. You know, they might face regulatory pushback from people on the board who don't understand Bitcoin or don't trust it or don't know enough about it yet. So I think having that option, and also they might trust, for treasuries, for example, it might also be another option because they might want to put their trust in a listed company that's, regulated by a sound, strong financial structure like the S&P 500 or the FTSE 100. So I think it serves purposes for both. And I think it just opens up that optionality. There's different layers of options and risk tolerance and allocation. No. Oh, favorite Bitcoin quote for me is investing in Bitcoin isn't get rich quick. It's winning the lottery in
Yes,
slow
I agree
motion.
with you. I'm not from one side or the other, because I think that for people, of course, we also advocate for self-custody, but some people don't care about that.
So I have just recently
for
finished
them, you have
the
the
audio
ETF.
book
It's easy
by
to buy.
Natalie Brunell.
It's not holding
Bitcoin is for
Bitcoin, but
everyone,
at the end of the day,
which
you put
is
money and then it turns
relates
into Bitcoin.
to
So
what I'm
even
sharing
though
my
you are not
story for.
custodying that.
Bitcoin
So
is for
a
everyone.
quick
It's for the average
more
person.
questions before
it's for the person who's
finishing.
not
Favorite Bitcoin
a
meme
high
or
net worth
quote?
individual. And I think in her book she breaks things down nice and slowly, in plain English. When I say plain English, I mean she doesn't use a lot of jargon, and she presents it very, very clearly.
That's
so
great.
I think that's a
That's
really
great.
good start for
And
people
one
who
book,
may not
podcast,
be
research
really,
you'd
really well
recommend,
versed in the
especially
space and
for
are
new
new to the
people who is
space.
coming to Bitcoin?
I also like the podcast or the presentation by Joe Bryan. I can't remember what it's called now, but that's what's the problem? Yeah, what's the problem? And I think that's a really, really good start because it puts it in a different analogy. So and he dives deeper into the multifaceted problems with what money printing can bring. So which everyone can relate to, I think. So yeah, I particularly like those two. Family trip. Um, I would guess a safari. A safari.
What is the problem? What is the problem?
Oh, wow, I want to go to Tanzania as well. I didn't know about that.
Excellent.
Interesting.
And the dream family
Fantastic.
trip funded by Satoshis, what would be?
So I guess we all can think about the price. I have no clue about the price. One thing I'm 99.9% certain is that
Well, there
it will
is,
keep going up.
you know,
You'll
there
have the
is a Bitcoin
drawdowns.
safari
You'll
in
have,
Tanzania
it's not going to go
that
up in a
they
straight line
organize
like
trips.
most things.
Yes, they organize
You'll have
trips
those nasty
and you can
dips.
pay in Bitcoin.
But ultimately,
It's called Bitcoin
it's an
Safari. You can
asset
search
that is
on
going to
X.
explode over time.
I interviewed them,
But
but I don't have in this YouTube
what the
channel
most
because
important thing
in the
would be
previous one that
is we're going
was
to see
shut down.
adoption.
But yeah, it's
So, like
Bitcoin
I say,
Safari in Tanzania.
we're
So
fully established in the individual investor stage. We're now entering
yes, amazing.
we're in
And
the
the last
midst of
two
the
questions is the
institutional
first
phase.
one: how
We're
do you
going to
see
get
the
to the
future of
passive
Bitcoin?
inflow phase, and we are going to eventually see nation state, global adoption. That's what I think think Bitcoin will be. It'll be globally adopted. I would ask, what was your light bulb moment? What was the light bulb moment for you to start this project? Because when I think about what's been built, I think that took, I could be wrong and I'm not sure, there might be an answer out there. As I say, I'm no expert, I'm not sure, but for me, something like that's got to take years, even decades, to think through, to plan out, to program, to map out. Obviously, in the white
Excellent.
paper,
And the
it
last
talks
question
about
is, if you had the
peer-to-peer
chance to
and,
sit down with Satoshi
accessible for
Nakamoto,
everybody,
what would you
peer-to-peer
ask,
payment system.
or what would you say to him,
But there's
to
so
her,
much more
or
to
to
it than
them?
that. I would ask, what was your light bulb moment all that time ago to start the project? So the only thing is, I've got a question for you, actually. So I know you live in Hong Kong, but you're from Argentina. Yeah, well done for beating us last week, by the way, in the World Cup. But um, so yeah, so how do you think that Javier Milei is going to how do you think he's doing in turning the economy around, and what is your personal view about the huge inflation that the country's
Excellent.
seen
Well,
recently?
Sophie, thank you very much for your time. Anything else you want to add, and how people can contact you? Yes. We are the most. I'm not gonna say that I'm from Argentina anymore, because now we are the most hated country in the world. I don't know why, but anyways.
Wow.
Well, I think that I'm a big supporter of Milei. I think that he came to change Argentina. Argentina was in the rock bottom for 80 plus years. And it's something that we want to. I remember all this week was all the people saying in after we win against England, everyone was, oh yeah, you won, but in one French newspaper, I think that is L'Equipe, they put Argentinians are so poor that the only thing that they have is football. This is not 100. This is not 100% wrong, but it's not 100% right. Milei, what he did in Davos in 2024, he said that he came from the future. He came from one of the best. I don't want to sound like, but we have an amazing country. Argentina is an amazing country. It's full of. We have a lot of climates. We have a lot of mountains. We have a good place where the cows can eat and have a great meat. We produce wine. We have a lot of natural resources. We have a lot of things.
Wow.
And at the beginning of last century, thanks to a lot of immigrants from Spain, from Europe, from Italy that were escaping from poverty, they built one of the, I think we were at the top 3 countries in the world in GDP. After that, 80 years of decay of populist governments, of left-wing governments, destroy Argentina. And he came to make Argentina great again. And he's doing that. Of course, he's not going to make again great again in 2 years, in 3 years. In probably if he's reelected next year, he's not going to be able to do it in 8 years of the 2 presidencies. But I think that he's doing a great job. He took the inflation from over 300% a year to 30% a year now. He's fighting against the fiscal deficit. He's fighting against a lot of things. He keep the dollar price stable. When I left Argentina in 2016, the price of the US dollar was, I think that one US dollar was 6 or 10 Argentinian pesos. Now, 1 US dollar is 1,500 Argentinian pesos. But it's stable. Since he took office, he's stable. So he's doing great things. And what he says, and that's what I say to my European friends, that we receive a lot of hate from there, but no worries. I love Europe. I love European friends a lot. That the countries, England, France, Germany, Spain, they are doing the same things that Argentina started doing 80 years ago. And these policies destroyed Argentina. Of course, Argentina is really bad in an economic way. Probably we are good in football and in other sports and other things too, but Argentina is destroyed economically speaking. And probably the last 20 years before Milei, we had the Kirchners that were, I think, that the worst government on the planet, on the history of Argentina, because they applied a lot of left-wing policies and destroyed Argentina. That's why I discovered Bitcoin, because when Cristina was the president, you were not able to send or receive money from Argentina. And the only way was through PayPal or other platforms. Yeah. And in the middle appeared something called Bitcoin that was, for me, was just to send and receive money. It took me 10 years to understand Bitcoin. But anyways, so I think that he's doing a great job. And I think that in Europe, of course, the current governments in UK, in France, in Spain are not going to do it because they are left-wing governments. But I hope the people can vote and can remove these leftists from the government and bring people like Milei. Probably he's not, he's a character that he's not very politically correct or polite, but he's like he's transparent. So I hope Europe, and he said in Davos in 2024, I come from the future to say you what the policies that are being applied in Europe destroyed my country. And this is true. And I see it every time I go back to Europe. I went to Europe for first time in 2008, then 2009, 2012. And when I came back in 2023, I say, what do they do to France? I've been in Paris, and I say, what do they do to Paris? I say, I've been in Frankfurt. What do they do to Frankfurt? People looking in their trash bins,
it's slow.
searching
I think
for
we're just
food.
seeing a slow
lot
decline.
Of drug addicts. People like throw and I saw a little bit in the UK too when I went to Bristol. So
Monday,
I think that Europe needs to take the socialism out.
6th Prime Minister.
They have to
just over 10
bring
years
people who
in the UK.
make Europe great again. And again,
so unstable.
Of course, Europe now
I
is
think
not at the same
we've got 3
stage
years left
of Argentina, let's say.
election.
Probably Europe can,
I think if we carry
the
on
European
at this rate, then
Union and the European governments can mess around for probably another 10 more years
we'll have a change in government
until they destroy
in the next
everything.
Election, but we're still quite far off from
the
that.
clock is ticking. So I try to say to the European people, wake up. because your politicians are doing the same shit that they do to our politicians, no European politician, our politicians did to our country and destroyed.
Wow.
So what
Big impact. Mhm. Mm.
and again, Milei is doing, he did a lot in less than 3 years in office. Again, he sent the inflation from 300% annually to 30% and dropping. I've been in Argentina last year and I saw the country getting better, but it's going to take time. It's destroyed. It's going to take time. And again, I want to take as you asked me for Argentina, all of the shit that we are receiving this week or during the World Cup, please, guys, don't listen to social media. Don't judge us for a TikTok reel or an Instagram reel or a tweet. We are not the shit that everyone is talking online. We are, of course, we have a lot of bad people in Argentina. As there are a lot of bad people, there might be a lot of bad people in the UK, a lot of bad people in Spain or in France, but we are not all the same.
Thank you so much for you.
We are not racist at all. We are not all the shit that they say. We are not cheaters.
And I hope to see you again at next year's conference.
Our politicians are corrupt. But again, what I see in Europe is a trend that they are repeating what Argentina did to destroy the whole country. So I hope things change because I love Europe. Of course, our culture comes from Europe. Argentina was built by immigrants, European immigrants, more not English, but more Spanish, Italians, a little bit of English, of British came. But I hope Europe can be great again as it was in the past.
Thank you so much.
So again, Sophie, thank you for your time, and it has been a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you so much.
And okay, see you. Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah, of course. Excellent. I loved the conference. I love Bristol. I have a special appreciation for Andrew Webley and what he's doing. He's a good friend, and I hope I can go next year, and because it was amazing and enjoyed too much. And I want to spend a few more days because this year I went to the conference. I've been around to Bristol a little bit. Then I've been to London just to meet a friend. But I want to stay more time in Europe this next year. So I hope I can go. So again, Sophie, thank you very much. And I wish you the best. And probably we will talk again in a couple of months. Thank you very much. And thank you to everyone who is on the other side. If you like the episode, give us a like, subscribe to our channel, follow us on social media, follow our guests on social media because they come to our podcast to help us to paint the world orange. Share this episode with the people you love. Share this episode with the people you hate because we must reach 8 billion people and give them the orange pill. See you in the next episode. Stay humble, stack sats, and remember, we are all Satoshi.